What's going on? Ryan here. Welcome back. In this video, we're going to briefly talk about leading indicators. So I got Thinkorswim open, got a chart pulled up, NQ NASDAQ 100 futures, and I got my volume and RSI, right? So RSI is relative strength index, and this could be thought of as a leading indicator. Why? Well, leading indicators are exactly what they sound like, right? They're leading us to an assumption in the future, right? They'll maybe shoot off a buy or a sell signal, right? Overbought or oversold. And then based on that, we could put on a position and we would expect the price to act accordingly in the future. So as an example here, just looking at the NASDAQ here, we can see that this RSI traded down here around, coming into the end of September, beginning of October. The market was selling off and it didn't quite get below this 30 line, right? Which would be considered an oversold market, but we still could have anticipated, right? We could have been looking at this RSI and okay, then when it started to move back up here and then it kind of retested down here, we could see that this was changing from, a potentially oversold market into now a potential buy or a market that's trending back up. And then the same thing up here, right? Where this RSI and this market traded up into this overbought zone, right? Where it then, could kick off that signal for us, and we could then potentially short here and then short here again, right? And that is what would be, a leading indicator, right? Where we're looking at this and we're seeing what's happening, and then we're anticipating what's going to happen in the future. Okay, so another one, if we come into the studies here, I'll just exit that and I'll type in we'll grab this stochastic full. And again, this is another indicator that can potentially be used as a leading indicator, right? Same sort of thing. Here it trades down into this oversold, and we could have taken a long position, and then it comes back up here into the overbought, and again we could have taken short positions up here. And important to know, right, that the leading indicators, while they can be accurate and they can provide signals for us, they're not 100% accurate, right? There are no guarantees. So always be aware of the potentially for it to do the opposite of what you think it's going to do. Okay. And another common leading indicator would be something like on balance volume. Okay. So on balance volume can be looked at where if we're looking at this NASDAQ here, and here's the on balance volume, and now that volume is starting to decrease or go down. If the volume is decreasing rapidly and there's not enough buyers, right, well, then the price has to adjust, and we could make the assumption that when this on balance volume starts to decrease here, that then, okay, we could see that the price would then follow, right? And obviously, when we look at this down here, down in this area, again, the end of September, beginning of October, we could see that this on balance volume is starting to pick up and rise. And here the market then does that again. And then it starts to fall, right? It starts to fall, but look, it doesn't go below the low. And then the volume starts to pick back up again. And we can see that the NASDAQ continues up, right? So important to understand what leading indicators are and how you use them, and but then also being aware that they're not 100%. And yeah, so in the next video, we're going to talk a little bit about the lagging indicators and go over a few examples. So I'll see you in the next video.